Hey everybody, it's Brad with the Big Family Homestead, and today's video is, well, let's say it's going to be memorable. So, without any further ado, let's get cracking. Now, what I am about to tell you is 100% true. This is a true story, but pause for a second. For those of you guys who come just for the homesteading videos, this is not a homesteading video, but you may want to hang out regardless because you might be just going, what are they thinking? This is absolutely silliness. And it may be silliness, but it actually did truly happen. So this is one of those stories from the time when Brad was a rock star, playing and touring on the road, and well, I hope you enjoy it. Of course, names and places will be masked to protect those involved, to keep everybody on the up and up. But here's the scoop. We were in this band and we were playing and touring, and we got to be friends with a lot of different leadership and different denominations. And this one person who was a leader happened to be a Catholic priest, and we got to be really good buds. And he was super cool, and he was in the process of moving from one parish to another. Now, for those of you who might not know much about Catholicism and priests and stuff like that, they live there. They live where they're serving. And so he was being assigned from one place to another, and so he was moving all of his things. And so he asked if I could come and help out and move some of his things, and I said, sure, absolutely. So he gets his stuff there, and we were basically moving things in from a vehicle and then setting up furniture and stuff like that. Now, do not ask me why this priest had a waterbed, but he had a waterbed. You can say that's strange or not, or whatever you want to say, but we were in the process of setting up his waterbed. And basically, we run the hose out of the window, and I go put the hose and connect it on, and he's yelling to me. He's got the hose in the bladder, and he yells, okay, turn it on. So I turn it on, I turn it all the way up, full blast. And then I come inside, and he's kind of looking at this thing, because you can kind of see through. There's like a little device where you put the hose in, and you can see the water, and it was just barely trickling in. And we're looking at each other, and it's looking at this like we're sitting there, and 2 minutes later, scratching our heads going, what in the world? And he goes, this is going to take hours. This is going to take hours. And we're like, well, I don't know. What do you want to do? He goes, well, don't you need some guitar strings? And I said, well, yeah. He goes, well, Guitar Center's right around the corner. Why don't we go ahead and just run over there, and we'll poke around and look at some guitars and stuff, and then we'll come on back. And by that time, maybe this thing will be, halfway done, who knows what, maybe whatever. So this is one of those moments where you're going, people are shaking their heads at the computer screen right now going, dummy, don't do it. And the answer is yes, we did. We left. We left the waterbed filling up, and for whatever reason, two normally rational thinking people left a waterbed filling up. So, as you may surmise, we get back and open the door to find a probably 1,000-pound monster balloon sitting just barely holding up on the framework of this waterbed. It had to be 4 feet high. It looked like a giant gray jelly bean. And we're like, oh my gosh, whoa, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And so I quickly run out, turn the hose off, and he unplugs the thing and gets it closed. And we're like, what are we gonna do? It's like, doom. You just touch it and it vibrates, and we're like, this is not gonna be good. And so we go, all right, well, we got to siphon this out. We got to siphon the water out. That's the only way to do it. The weight of this, there's no way we can deal with the weight of it any other way. So I get back out there, he's got the thing in there, and I start siphoning the water, and we're putting it in the tub in his restroom, in the bathroom. And so it starts going, and it is just barely trickling. Now, this is the point where some of you are going, okay, Brad, you're officially an idiot. And the answer is probably, because he and I both, this is a priest, a guy who's been through everything you can imagine kind of deal, and he's been to college, and I'm this dude, and we look at each other and go, this is going to take hours. This is trickling out of here. It's going to, and so he goes, well, you want to go to lunch? And so, for whatever reason, we did not learn our lesson, but it gets better from here. So we go to lunch, and sure enough, you know, an hour and a half later, we come back, and what had happened was part of the frame of the bed had crushed from the weight of the water, and the giant jelly bean of water death kind of rolled and smashed up against the wall. Okay, so it's like up against the wall, and what we quickly realized was it had smashed. He had some picture frames that were like leaning up against the wall because he hadn't hung them on the wall yet, and it had broken the glass. But at this point, it was just, we're like, oh my gosh, how did it not break that water? And so we're kind of looking around going, how are we going to get this thing out of here? And we were trying to finagle it around so that we could get back to the thing that to get it siphoning properly again. And I don't remember if it was him or me, but I'm going to say it was him, that he was fiddling with part of the broken glass, trying to get it out of the way, and all of a sudden it cut a gash like this big, and it was just pouring water, just whoosh, it's pouring water, and we're panicking, and so we find these trash buckets, and we're starting to try to bail water, and we're fireman's carry, and we're bailing water, and that goes on for at least an hour, but the water is flooding down the hallway, because this is a building where it's attached to the church, but also another priest who's above him, he's the chief, the big Mac Daddy priest, he lives there, and he lives down the hall, and then there's like a cafeteria and some stuff. And so the water's just flooding down the hall. It's like 40 feet that way, and it's 40 feet that way, and there's still 2 inches of water in his whole place there. And right about that moment, as we kind of just give up and go, oh my gosh, how are we going to even deal with this? We hear this little yippy dog, like one of the little Scotty dogs. We hear a slosh, 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 and a yippy dog. And then lo and behold, stands a tiny little Irish priest who's an older gentleman holding this yippy dog. And I'm not going to say that he had been drinking, but kind of smelled that way. But he just stands there and he goes, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and walks off. Slosh, 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 slosh. True story, guys. So if there is a moral to the story here, the answer is don't be a complete moron, idiot, dope, and leave water running for your waterbed, and then don't let it siphon on its own because you're too stupid to, you wanted to go to lunch. And Scout's honor, really did happen. Have you had anything crazy like that happen to you where you're just like, this is so dumb, I can't believe I did it? If you did, share it with the world. We would love to participate in the glory of your Bradley-ness in that moment. So anyway, there it is. That's the story, and I'm sticking to it. So I'm Brad with the Big Family Homestead, and you guys have an amazing day.